welcome everyone. Snagged on that. I just want to give a little shout out to my friend Richard Clark, who is filling in for Martha today. And of course, our fabulous band, Nick and Scott. They make my life so easy. All right, well, I'm going to invite everybody to stand, and we're going to get started with our opening song, We Come Together. 2, 3, 4.
Good morning. So we have Anji Kat in the house. You didn't introduce your lovely self with your beautiful voice. Thank you for being here this morning. And for those of you who know our beloved Martha Yordi has had her hip replaced. She's recovering very well. And so we're fortunate to have Richard Clark with us today. And next week we will have Jan and JD. And then Martha says she'll be back. So I think she'll be feeling much better than she had been. For those of you who don't know me, I am Trish Morris. I have yes, thank you. Woo. I'll get you $10 afterwards, CJ, thank you. I have the joy of serving as your associate minister here. David Howard is our senior minister. He'll be up shortly. So for those of you in-house today, thank you for making our Sunday morning brighter by bringing your energy and your smiling faces behind your masks. And for those of you who are joining us online, we know that really energetically we are all connected. And so we draw you into this place and this space and know that really wherever you are, God is. And so thank you for joining us however you are doing that. If you are new to us here physically, please stop by the welcome desk and get a welcome packet. It has a little more information about what we do here and what Unity is about, and also a contact card. We'd love to know more about you and how we can follow up with you or serve you. And so you can fill that out and drop it in any of the offering baskets. We love that. If you're online, you know, I've done the research finally. You can go to our website, unitydenver.org. And under New to Unity, there's a Connect with Us tab, and you can fill out that same form electronically. I mean, it's amazing what we've done. So I want to let you know about a few things coming up. First of all, I think, today, right after the service, on Facebook at 11:15, for those of you who are watching virtually, our youth and family director, Natalie Simmons, has filmed wonderful little 15-minute lessons for kiddos. So if you're home and you need something to do for 15 minutes after this, get them on the Facebook page. They're really great. Some of the adults around here are known to watch those as well. They're that great. So want to let you know about that. Today is laughter yoga, so that'll be fun with Natalie. That's 11:15 on Facebook. Also, yes, we come together in the name of love. And that is what I want to remind you about. Thank you, Al. You're doing an amazing job. Want to let you know, yes. Want to let you know, Anji Kat, who's in the house today, is offering, a second Red Tent Women's Gathering. And Angie, what you need to know about her is she's been very committed to facilitating connection among women in this group, those who identify as women, however that may be. And she's doing that monthly. She did one in September, October, November is a harvest celebration. And you can sign up for that on our website, unitydenver.org. So that's coming up next Saturday from 9:30 to noon. And she's also just really committed to having that go into the new year. And so she'll be facilitating half of the sessions in the new year and leaving a month. So she'll do, let's say, January and leave February open, and vice versa. So for those of you who are interested in maybe doing a circle yourself or bringing a topic to the group, they'd love to have you, and Angie's working on doing a I should have just had you do this. A facilitation training she's working on. So if that's something you're interested in, like, yeah, I'd love to do that, but I might need a little support, talk to Angie and or email me and I'll get you to her. So take advantage of that, yes? And then that evening, Jan and J.D. Martin and Jan Garrett, who many of you know, are doing a concert here at 6 p.m. They're fabulous musicians that bring great energy, fun, and meaning to all that they perform. So I hope you'll take advantage of that. Tickets are available, again, unitydenver.org. And they'll also be doing the Sunday morning lesson, talk and music that following day. So we'll have a whole weekend with Jan and JD, which is great. So take advantage of that. There's the Venn diagram I've told you about. You can pull that out at a party. Say, well, have you made your Venn diagram yet? All right, that's better than it went last week. Monica McNulty, who is on your council, put this visual together as a result of some of the visioning work your council has been doing. And we're moving forward with some of those main groups, reimagining our space, growing our prosperity, and moving more into spiritually motivated social action. And also formulating that new mission statement, inspiring authentic connection with the divine self and others for spiritual growth, healing, and loving service to the world. And again, we'd love your input and your feedback. Some of you have responded online. You should have gotten an email to just say, yeah, I love this, or meh. Mostly it's been very positive, so it seems like we're on the right track with that. So just know that we are moving forward with great focus and energy and excitement, and we thank you for participating in that, however you may be doing so or be called to do so. So today, after the service, will be the Reimagining Our Space team meeting at 11:30 in the Children's Garden. Many of you have signed up for that. Those of you who have some ideas about how we could perhaps reconfigure some of our space or use our space differently. So if you have ideas about that, please come to that meeting. It's kind of a brainstorming introduction at 11:30 today. So thank you for considering all that and listening to me. And now that's all I really have to say about announcements. I just invite you to get comfortable in your chair as you settle in this morning to this sacred space and time together. I begin by ringing this crystal bowl that is tuned to our heart chakras. So just taking a deep breath, relaxing, and letting this sound open you up and center you into this space.
Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence
just invite you to relax into that presence of divine love that is here and really anywhere that you are. For each one of us is an expression of that divine love. And so I just invite you to take a deep breath, to release as much as possible the busyness of your morning or anything on your mind, to really connect with the truth and the power of that truth, that you are an expression of divine intelligence, divine love, right here, right now. There's nothing you need to do better or stop doing. That is always true. And so you can breathe into that truth, feel the support of that truth, that the divine life is expressing as you in this very moment. And as such, you have deep access to wisdom, to guidance, to understanding. And so just let that truth permeate your being, particularly any area of your life that you might be feeling a challenge. Let the power of that truth move forward in that area, guide you, support you. For we know we are abundantly supported, infinitely loved, and divinely guided. And so we take time also to bring into our space and our awareness anyone in our own lives who may not be here today, but who may be experiencing a challenge of any kind, physical, emotional, material, that they too are an expression of that source of all that is. May they feel that connection, may they feel that truth supporting them as it does us. And in that connection and that awareness, we are reminded that we are all connected as expressions of that one source, God, by whatever name you know it. We are connected in our divine inheritance and our divine lineage, as it were. And so we let that truth also empower us and uphold us, renew us, and reconnect us. And for this opportunity to know this, to claim this, and to continue to live more fully into this truth, we are grateful. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Trish. Good morning. As Trish said, I'm David Howard, and I have the privilege of serving as the senior minister here at Unity Spiritual Center, Denver. And so I just want to say good morning and welcome to you. This morning I will be completing a series that I started several weeks ago on Deepak Chopra's book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And today I'll be talking about the Law of Dharma and purpose. It's about our life purpose. And if you listen to me very often, or even once probably, or read any of my writings, you know that what I would say about our purpose is that it is to discover our own divinity. It is to awaken to who we truly are, to know our unity in the divine as an expression of that divine life. And to awaken to that, I think, is truly our life purpose. And then what we do with that is to then bring that forth through our thoughts and our words and our actions. And in service, which I'll be talking more about today. So this reading spoke to me. It's from a book called The Book of Love, which was written by Deandra Price. I talked about her last week. She was one of my spiritual mothers who made her transition about a year ago. And this is entitled, "Here I Am, Lord, Use Me." Mastery in life embraces service, and each of you is headed in that direction at this time. Do not ever be afraid to offer what is service to every moment given you to live. And in the offering, that which is given is the gift of God you are unto itself. Let me read that again. Do not ever be afraid to offer what is service to every moment that is given you to live. And in the offering, that which is given is the gift of God you are unto itself. True service is a gift of love and not a hardship of any kind. It is what is sown in each heart and the natural flowing of life energy. Service ultimately becomes your pleasure, your passion, and your joy. Each time you gift service from a surrendered and joyful heart, you are automatically gifted beyond the service given. Those of you reading this have more than likely felt this inner urge for eons. It has spawned the ceaseless prayer of your heart. Here I am, Lord, use me. Let it now be known to you at the deep level of understanding the true nature of service arises automatically from the love that you are. Service is a venue for you to be a contributor within the totality of the whole of life. Service is the venue for you to be a contributor within the totality of the whole of life.
TV shows. I read the books that tell me all the things that I should know. I ask my friends who tell me all the things I'm going through. No one knows the answer. I know what to do. I listen for the whisper deep down inside. Listen for the whisper, a strong but gentle guide. With 1,000 different voices ringing in my
Thank you, Angie. Anji Kat, always a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much for being here today. And let me make sure I've got anyway, it's here. As I said, I'm completing the series today based on Deepak Chopra's book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. He also says that they are the 7 spiritual laws of life. And so how do we define a successful life? Do we define a successful life by how much money we make? Maybe by how much we accumulate? Sometimes I think we do measure that, whether we have the right job, whether we have the right relationship. We measure our lives in some way by that. Is that really success? How do we truly measure a successful life? I think it's individual. How you might measure a successful life may be different from the way I measure a successful life. But as I've been reading the book, studying the book, talking about what he teaches in the book, I believe that in essence, a successful life for me, would be living in integrity with that expression of the divine that I am. As much as I can possibly do that in any moment. To truly be in touch with that authentic self, the true self, the higher self. In unity, we call that the Christ self. And if you're new to unity, we're not talking about any person being the Christ. We're talking about a consciousness. We're talking about an expression of the divine energy, the source, the one. That one potential possibility, the allness that you and I can recognize, can embody, can realize as our true nature and live from. That's what we teach that the Christ is. And that same Christ energy within you is the same Christ energy within me, the same Christ energy that is within all humanity, and indeed, really all creation. And our opportunity is to consciously awaken to that, to release separation, any idea of duality, and come into the awareness in every moment as much as we can possibly do that and know our unity, not only with God, the source, life energy, by whatever name or nature we know it to be. We know that we are one with that. We are that in expression, and so is everyone else. And so we recognize our unity with each other. And all creation, we recognize our unity with all creation. And so, as we awaken to that, as I was talking about earlier, we awaken to that. That is the Christ that we understand it to be. And how can we live in integrity with that? Understanding that I don't say none of us. I mean to own it for myself. I don't live in constant awareness of that. You know, we visit it and we sort of fall back a little bit. We visit it and we go back to our humanity. We visit it, we go back into our humanity. And we do that dance all the time because we live in these human bodies. You know, Scripture tells us you are in the world, but know that you're not of the world. But be in the world. We are in the world. And that, I don't know where I got off on that tangent, but I got off on that tangent. So let me see if I can, get back on track here. What I wanted to talk about today is that reminding us of these laws that Deepak talks about in the book. That these are the laws of life, as he talks about. And as we understand these laws of life, we can work with these laws to truly come into the awareness of who we are and live from the awareness of who we are so that we do create whatever we believe to be a successful life. Because we work with the laws of the universe, work within that and work with that to apply those to our lives. So just as a reminder, The first law is the law of unity, the law of pure potentiality. That's what I was just talking about. That we are one. We are that expressing. We are that pure potential and possibility of the allness of the divine. We have access to it all. And our opportunity is to connect with it and be in the flow of it, allow it to flow through us. The law of giving from that source, as that source. And that we know that we are powerful creative beings who are always at choice. You and I are always at choice. And we get to choose every moment. Very often we make those choices unconsciously. But we can make conscious choices every moment. When we are connected and in touch with that divine aspect of who and what we truly are, our choices arise from that. Our choices of thought, our choices of word, our choices of action, our choices of service in the world arise from our choice, our first choice, to know who we are and to live from that. And sometimes we don't make that choice. And so our next choice is to come back into that awareness. But we're always at choice, and our choices that we make in thought and word and action determine our life experience. So that's what we teach, right? And that what we give out, what we put out there, is what comes back to us. And then our opportunity is to be in the flow of that life. To let that life flow through us, because we do struggle with life sometimes, don't we? Or am I the only one? We struggle sometimes. We're trying to figure it out, trying to know what to do. But what Deepak says in the book is that if we can be in that place of knowing who we are, connecting with the divine, allowing that to flow through us, he talks about it as a law of least effort, then life is done through us. That we're not doing it, we're being done. We're allowing life to have its life through us, as us, in every moment. Where we're connected to who we are, our thoughts are inspired by who we are, then our feelings are aligned with that knowing. And as we connect with that, then we allow that to move us to what to say and what to do. And so we allow that awareness, that life, to have its life through our unique expression of itself. Am I saying that in a way that makes sense? So that's what he's talking about, the law of least effort, and then we get to get in touch with what we desire, as I talked about last week, our heart's desire, and get and detach from that. So anyway, if you've been following along with the book, you know I take some liberties with it, which which I kind of have my own take on some of these things, and I share that with you. But I do recommend the book. It's a great tool for us to use. And today I'm going to talk about what he says is the law of Dharma, or the law of purpose in life. And my guess is that most of us at some point in our lives have asked that question. What is my purpose? What is my life purpose? Or am I living in alignment with my life purpose or my soul's purpose for being here? Why am I here? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? Anybody ever ask that question? Daily, yeah. Sometimes it is daily. Am I living my life purpose? And what Deepak says about that is our first step in accessing what our life purpose is, or I like to think of it as my soul purpose, the soul purpose, S-O-U-L and S-O-L-E, soul purpose, as I said earlier, is to get in touch with that life energy, the truth of who we are. And that's what he says, to get in touch with the God or goddess within you. to spend some time getting in touch with that aspect of you. Who am I really? You know, I would recommend to you, I know sometimes this seems trite, but to take time truly to look at yourself in the mirror and behold the beauty and the wonder that you are. You know, sometimes I think we look in the mirror, again, let me own it for myself. I look in the mirror and I begin immediately to judge what is wrong. I begin to criticize what's happening as I'm aging. And I think of myself as that. But what if I looked in the mirror? What if we all could look in the mirror, really look into our own eyes and behold God or the goddess that is there? What if we could look into the mirror and behold the Christ? What if we could really look into our own eyes, seriously gaze, and see the wonder, the majesty, the mystery that is just waiting for our recognition of it? And to truly look at that and behold and say to yourself, man, you are glorious. I love you. You are beautiful. You are a bright light. You are the Christ made flesh. Are you willing to do that? I think it's important. Well, I don't only think it, I know it's important for us to recognize that in ourselves. Because what I know about that is that if we can't see it in ourselves, we're not going to be able to see it in another. We may pretend that we do, but as long as we continue to judge ourselves and evaluate ourselves, we're going to be projecting that all over everybody. Do you agree with me? Do you see how that happens? What if you only saw the beauty in yourself and you were only able to see the beauty in everyone else you looked at? To truly look into someone's eyes and say, I behold the Christ in you because I know the Christ in me. And just feel the unity that arises in that. Practice that this week. And I will commit to doing it myself. Practice beholding that within you. And practice, another thing he says in the book is to get in touch with your gifts. What are your gifts? And how do you share those gifts? I know sometimes for some of us, we deny our gifts. Or we think, well, I don't really have any gifts. Or if I'm going to claim my gifts, then that's arrogant, or that's conceited, or that's I'm getting full of myself if I claim my gifts. I think sometimes we're taught to downplay our gifts. Or have you ever given somebody a compliment and they go, oh, well, this just, nothing. That doesn't, How does it feel when you give someone a compliment and they just kind of go, oh, well, How does it, do you react that way when somebody gives you a compliment? When somebody says, oh, what you did was just so beautiful and it touched me in such a meaningful way. Are we able to take that in? Make a list of your gifts. If you don't know what they are, ask somebody else. Ask your friends. I know sometimes we think we don't have gifts because we look at people like this and they say, oh, well, I couldn't play the piano. I can't sing like Anji. I can't play the guitar. I can't play the bass or the drums. And these guys have such gifts. Well, I don't have that. Well, that just happens to be their gift. And I'm sure they have many other gifts. I mean, Anji teaches, Anji shares, Anji speaks, Anji does a lot of things. I'm sure you do as well. Here's some ideas if you're curious about these ideas about gifts. You may not think about these as gifts. The gift of administration. Some people are really good at organizing things. I don't happen to be one of them. The gift of collaboration. It's a gift, being able to work alongside and with other people. The gift of compassion. Sometimes we don't think about that as being a gift. I have the gift of compassion. I can be with somebody. I can open my heart. I can be with their pain. I can be with their joy. I can be in that. That's a gift. The gift of enthusiasm. How many of you have the gift of enthusiasm? I want you to jump up and scream right now. Yay! The gift of creativity. The gift of prayer. The gift of peacemaking. The gift of hospitality, where you like to make people feel welcome. You know, we have people who are using their gifts here when they're greeting you as you walk in the door. People who are preparing food and creating a beautiful spread of food when you leave here. People who are gifted at that. Not everybody is, but it may be your gift. Even the gift of teaching, the gift of wisdom, the gift of open-mindedness. So we don't always think about these things as gifts. But again, I would suggest and recommend that you make a list of those gifts. And if you want to start with a list of gifts, I'll be glad to send that to you. But I would imagine you can look online and pull up a list of gifts. And just kind of look at what is my gift? Or what are my gifts? And how am I using those gifts? And then the third part of that is asking how I can use my gifts to serve. How can I, or how am I using my gifts to make a difference? Andrew Harvey, in his book, The Hope, A Guide to Sacred Activism, in 2009, put together a list of 5 forms of service. And I think they're all important for us to consider. When we're looking at our gifts, how do I use my gifts? And I want to say it this way, as I was talking about allowing it to be done through us, how does Spirit, how does God, how does Source serve as me? Can we ask that question? How does Spirit serve itself in the form of others or the world as me? And so Andrew Harvey says that the first form of service is service to the divine. And it's important for us, as I talked about earlier, to spend time getting in touch with that divine self through prayer and meditation and contemplation and affirmation. And however way you get in touch with that divine life within you. It could be singing. It could be some other form of music. It could be hiking. It could be walking. It could be moving in some way, yoga. It could be many ways that you can get in touch with that divine within you, but it's important for us to spend some time, to dedicate some time to serve that divine life energy. And he says another way that we serve is service to ourselves as the instruments of the divine. And sometimes I think we forget that. We forget that it's important for us to take time for ourselves to rest, to eat well, to exercise, to do the things that we can do to nourish ourselves, because it's not just about you or me. It's about when we think of ourselves as instruments or vessels of the divine, this is the vessel that we have to express the divine, to share the divine, to give from the divine in this way. And so if we're healthy, if we are in a good space within ourselves where we're actually taking care of ourselves, if we're empty, we don't have anything to share. It's important to fill ourselves up. Right? Are we doing that? Are we serving that divine within ourselves? And then he says, service to all sentient beings. He says, everything would change if only we could treat every single being we meet, animal or human, as who they really are, a disguise of God. Every human being, every animal, I would extend that to every tree, every form of nature. And then he says the next way is service to your local or spiritual community. We talked about this last week a little bit in our spiritually motivated social action meeting. And one of the things that we talked about was getting in touch with what breaks your heart. What is it? And this is actually Andrew Harvey was the first time I heard that. He talks about getting in touch with what breaks your heart open. What breaks your heart open when you hear about it, when you read about it, when you see it on the news. What's going on in the world that just touches you so deeply that it not necessarily breaking your heart with mourning, although that's part of it, but breaking your heart open so that you are open to be the expression of that divine love to that particular issue. We talked last week, too, about how it's different for many of us, all of us. And there's not, what's the word I want to use? There's so many areas that we can serve. So many places in our world, so many places in society, so many people that are hurting in many different ways that we can serve. And then lastly, he talks about service to the global community. Recognizing truly that each choice we make impacts the whole. Every choice we make of thought is energy that impacts the whole. Every action that we take impacts the whole. I'm going to share with you that your council is really working hard these days to vision, to get together, to find ways to serve. Your council is doing much of the fellowship that you've been enjoying. And one of the things that was a small thing, but it's not small at all, that's happening today is Monica McNulty on your council put together little boxes or containers of food individually. But not just that, but the containers, even the tops, the bottoms and the tops, are compostable. Now, it may seem like a small thing, but it's not, because every choice we make, including what we use or what we put out as garbage or compost, impacts the whole. So we make a conscious choice to use compostable material because it has less of an environmental impact. Does that make sense? The little things that we do make a difference. So be thinking about, how can I think globally? Again, very common term, think globally and act locally. How can I do that individually? And so it's important for us, I believe, to recognize our gifts. How do we use those gifts? And how are we using those gifts in service to the divine, to ourselves, to every sentient being, to our local, our spiritual community, our local community, and globally? How are we doing that? And when we get in touch with that, that becomes our purpose, the law of Dharma, that we're living our purpose. It doesn't mean that you have to take on changing the whole world, but you have an impact on the world in which you live right here and right now. And I believe as we move forward that our opportunity as a spiritual community, a group of individuals with many varied gifts and talents, as we come together as a community, our opportunity as well is to, yes, inspire connection with the divine that we are, and the divine that is all around us in each other. And to ask ourselves, what are the gifts of our community? What are the resources of our community? What do we, as Unity Spiritual Center Denver, have? What are the gifts that we have to share? How are we sharing them? How are we using them? And truly, how are we serving the world? Part of that new statement that you heard earlier is loving service in the world. We connect with the divine, with ourselves and others, for spiritual growth, for healing, and for loving service in the world. And as we go into this meeting after service today about our facility, how are we using this building? I would say this building is a gift. This building is a resource. And unfortunately, these days, it's a resource that goes unused quite a lot. So that's part of the question I want to ask us. How are we using our resources and our gifts to serve the world? And how can we open ourselves up to a better vision, a clearer vision of how we might do that? I think that's all. So let's take a moment, take a breath. And as you breathe in, I invite you to breathe your awareness deep into your heart space. Beneath your thinking mind, deep into the center of your being, where you come into the awareness of that God or goddess, the Christ that you are. And as you center yourself there, I invite you to just imagine in this moment that you are gazing into a mirror, that you're looking upon yourself, beholding yourself as the divine, as beautiful and wonderful and glorious and magnificent, as love being expressed as the embodiment of Christ. Behold the truth of who you are. And as you behold the truth of who you are, allow yourself to ask the question of that divine self, what are my gifts? And allow yourself to become aware. Listen for that whisper of that inner voice. Listen for the whisper that only your heart can hear. And then listen deeper. How am I using my gifts? How am I using my gifts to serve the divine, to serve the divine in me, to serve all sentient beings? How am I using my gifts to serve in my local and spiritual communities? And how am I serving the global community? How am I serving globally with every choice I make to use my gifts and talents? And so as we take just a short time in the silence, I invite you to continue consciously breathing into that space of your heart where you listen to that still small voice of the divine that's always calling you, always in that quiet understanding, calling you forth to know who you are, to be who you are, to live that truth. Breathing into the quiet, into the silence. And as you awaken to that, I invite you to once again ask that inner knower, what is one step, one thing I can do this week to make a difference? As I listen and as I follow, and make a commitment to yourself, to your higher self, to your soul, to your Christ self, to take action, to do what you are called to do. It may be something seemingly very small to you, but you may never know what an impact it might have. So just breathe.
I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do.
Let's all sing that together to ourselves or quietly into our own hearts. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. Let's pick it up. I cannot do
All the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do.
Amen and amen. Thank you. So now is the time in our service where we would, a while ago we'd be passing the basket, but we're not doing that anymore. If you're in the sanctuary, you can leave your gift, your tithe, your offering at the baskets when you leave. If you are watching virtually, you see there, right there on your screen, ways that you can contribute to this ministry. And we are so appreciative of all the ways that you do give from the good that is you to support this ministry. So I invite you now to say our offertory blessing with me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am thankful.
Facing the unknown, staring at the open door like you've never left the shore. Walk on through, there's so much more to find. All you ever need to bring, an open mind, a willing heart, the song that you were born to sing. Be a candle in the dark, one step is all it takes to start. To be the adventure you are. You are. You are the adventure. You can carry all the weight of your past mistakes, but that's a heavy load to bear. Just pack what you can take. Standing on the precipice, you know there must be more than this. Leaning into all that is divine. All you ever need to bring, an open mind, a willing heart, the song that you were born to sing. Be a candle in the dark, one step is all it takes to start. To be the adventure you are. You are. You are. You are. As I weave this tapestry, thread by thread, uniquely me, slumbering within the seed, is everything I'll ever need. Awakening. All you ever need to bring, an open mind, a willing heart, the song that you were born to sing. Be a candle in the dark, one step is all it takes to start. To be
Thank you again, Andy, your name is not Andy. Angie and Richard, thank you for being with us today as well. And as I said, there is some food out there. There are some vegan options for those of you who are plant-based. So those of you who are meat eaters, please allow the plant-based eaters to have their choice of those first. And we appreciate that. And there are containers there for the compost. So please know that everything is compostable except the cups. The cups are recyclable. So once you finish with your food, the napkin, put it in the compost bin, and the cups, put it in the recycle bin. Good? All right. So if you stand with me now, we will say our closing prayer, and then we'll sing the closing song. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. As light, I illumine my world. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. As love, I live empathy, understanding, and compassion. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. As power, I co-create a world of love, unity, and equality for all. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. As presence, I stand in truth in every circumstance. Wherever we are, God is. Amen.
Love can move the world as the moon in the sky moves the sea. Love can cause the wars to cease. Love can move this world to peace. It's a tide that begins with you and me. Love can move the world as the warmth of the sun moves the trees. Feel the wind of love increase as we move this world to peace. Come love the world with me. Come love the world with me.
One more thing. If you are staying for the Reimagining Our Space, please get some food. You have a little time, and then come into the children's garden, and we'll be meeting in there. Thank you.